Okay, are we on?
We're on.
Okay.
Think.
ModPo community close reading. Should we introduce ourselves or?
Sure.
Okay. They can cut it out if they want to. I'm Robin. Hello, everybody.
I'm Lori.
Darlene.
Lee.
James.
All right. So what we thought we would do this afternoon here at Bulletproof Coffee in the Arts District of Los Angeles is read Each Defeat by Eileen Myles. This is a poem that's new to all of us. I just glanced at it to make sure it'd be a fun one to do. And so let's see, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. You want to go by sentences, semantic units, stanzas? Stanzas. Okay, so let's work through the stanzas. So, Each Defeat by Eileen Myles. I'll begin. Please keep reading me Blake, because you're going to make me the greatest poet of all time.
Keep smoothing the stones in the driveway. Let me fry an egg on your ass, and I'll pick up the mail.
I feel your absence in the morning and imagine your instant mouth. Let me move in with you. Traveling, wrapping your limbs on my back, I grow man, woman, child. I see wild, wild, wild.
Oh, okay. Keep letting the day be massive, unlicensed. Oh, please have, my child. I'm a little controlling. Prose has some magic. Morgan had a whore in her lap. You big fisherman, I love my friends.
I want to lean my everything with you, make home for your hubris. I want to read the words you circled over and over again. A slow skunk walking across the road, yellow, just kind of pausing, picked up the warm laundry. I just saw a coyote, tippy, tippy, tippy. I didn't tell you about the creature with hair, long hair. It was hit by cars on the highway again and again. It had long gray hair. It must have been a dog. It could have been ours. Everyone loses their friends.
I couldn't tell anyone about this sight. Each defeat is sweet. Love that little rhyme at the end. You know?
Yeah.
Defeat.
I mean,
a couple rhymes.
Sweet.
Right? And no,
Yeah.
the wild, wild, wild
Right.
is
Yeah,
a good
with
one.
rhyming
too.
with child.
So sort of a love poem, I guess, here for this afternoon. Let's start with the title, y'all. So Each Defeat. What do you do with that?
Well, it assumes there's more than one.
It does,
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, it's good because not only it's already creating this sense of a series or a pattern, right? And so in the same way that it's doing that with the sense of it, I think also just the language of it, you want to follow that. Each defeat something. It's like a sentence that hasn't finished, which is where we get at the end of the poem. We have to work through the poem to get there.
And she's already starting with rhyme in the title,
Yeah.
which is interesting because she does end rhyme. She does some end rhymes.
Yeah.
She does here and
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
sporadic. It's
Yeah.
not regular, but there are, even at the beginning, keep reading me Blake because you're going to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she does a lot of each defeat, please keep reading me. So she's doing a lot of internal, assonance as well. So there's a lot of technique actually.
Yeah, and so what do you think the purpose of that would be poetically? Why, especially at the beginning, to start with again, so we get, as you just said, each defeat, please keep, read, and then you also get Blake, make, great. So that very first, very short stanza has a lot of internal rhyme.
Yeah.
Well, with the word each, it sort of suggests that there's going to be many.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe with all those rhymes, it's like there's many things that are going to keep happening.
Yeah, which also, what kind of defeat do we? I mean, starting with this first stanza and the title, what kind of defeat do you think that we're even talking about?
Well, maybe a poetic defeat, maybe trying to express something and coming at it in different ways, not quite succeeding in these attempts
Yeah, I like
that are within the poem. Maybe.
I like that. When I first thought it, I was thinking already of just with the title, the meta-poetic reading, and sort of thinking of the famous Samuel Beckett thing you see places where he says, try again, fail better.
Uh-huh.
That idea of artistic creation is a process of continual failure.
Right. Yeah, and this makes me think of the Beats this week, and one of the quotes, I think, from a jazz musician was, if you aren't failing, you're failing.
Yeah. But no, I like that, and it's a good. I think it's the spirit of the Beats in the New York school. That idea of again, even back to Carrell's, that idea of spontaneous expression, right?
sets up a rhythm so it keeps you reading. So it's kind of like the first few lines are "Please keep reading me," and the poem is like carrying you forward with a rhythmic repetition. So.
Yeah, what do you? So I like it starts with just "please!" exclamation point
Right.
instead of finishing the sentence. Why?
It was please keep reading me. Just like go on, just go on with it. Don't give up.
Yeah.
We're gonna get through some things here.
This reminds me, I can't remember the name of the poem, but one that we read
Sid
earlier,
one.
the Sid Corman.
Like Sid Corman, as long as you are,
with
right?
me.
As long
yeah.
as you are. That's how I read that first. That
He
first
reads it that way,
stanza.
like as long as you are, right?
Right,
He puts
and
that-
then
and this was like, please
keep reading me,
Yeah.
keep reading me.
Yeah.
You know, as
'Cause
long
that's
as you
the-
are, I'll
Exactly.
be here, right?
Yeah,
You're
and-
gonna make me the greatest poet of all time just by reading me, just by
Who's Blake? Is
keep
it
reading
Blake?
me.
William Blake?
Yeah.
Is it,
so
is
I.
it Blake, or is
Yeah,
it some other Blake?
I was imagining a scenario where she's being read to, and what her reader is reading is William Blake. So this idea of the mystical, political poet prophet.
So, reading Blake to her.
Yeah, that's how I read it. But I like what you're doing with just keep reading me because I think
Right.
both are really applicable here.
Yeah, it's definitely like this metapoetic. The beginning is this metapoetic coupling, and
Yeah.
then it goes reading me Blake. So you're like,
Right.
oh, reading Blake to me
Right.
will make me the greatest poet.
Or
he's
Blake
the
is
best
just
source.
some person
Right.
Yeah.
who keeps smoothing the stones in the driveway and
Right,
who
good old
wants
Blake.
to fry an egg on his hot ass.
I
You know,
know.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, we should move to that stanza.
Yeah, I think that. So with the first stanza, we've got a clear you, right? So we're already getting into the territory where there can be a you within the context,
Right.
and also the you as the reader, right? You're going to make me the greatest poet of all time.
And me is the
Yeah.
speaker or the
Yeah.
poem.
Yeah. Before we move on to the second stanza, I mean, the greatest poet of all time. I sort of think about a kid who wants to be the best basketball player of all time or something. What do you do with that sort of hyperbolic, reach for the stars kind of ambition?
Well, I think to me at least it was talking about, as long as you're being read, you are then currently the greatest poet of all time, because that's the person that is being that's the poet who is being focused on. So if people are reading you, you are at that moment the greatest poet.
Yeah, I like that.
Or that she is the heir to Blake, in the contemporary times.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, are you very familiar with William Blake? Or?
Tiger, Burning Bright.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
about as far as I can go. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he was, in history studies, you get a little bit of him.
We had
he was a great
Ginsberg
poet.
Great poet. Singing
Right.
his poetry
Right, so-
in ModPo Plus this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, so I think that choice speaks to this idea of what they, the bardic, right? The idea of a poet that's not just a dead figure on paper, but a figure who's very much alive and sort of crossing these boundaries, religious boundaries, political boundaries.
I like the suggestion that there could ever be a greatest poet of all. Like there's some scale by which poets become
Yeah.
are ranked as great. And
Yeah.
this one's the greatest, and there's some kind of objective greatest poem of all time.
And
poet
would that
of all
even
time.
be about the words, or would
Yeah.
that be about the figure of the poet? But then thinking about Ginsberg again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other part of this too is the beats and Kerouac saying, we're all geniuses all the time. And so why couldn't she be the greatest poet of all time?
Well, also just reading Blake to her would make
Right.
her
Really good.
better and better and better at this kind of poetry. But
Yeah,
Well, she does seem to be talking to somebody though in this. So this other person is important.
Mhm.
And do you think that the defeat, does the defeat need to be in each stanza, or do you think that there is a defeat in each stanza?
Oh, that's a cool idea. That's a
I don't
cool
know.
idea, but I don't really see much of a defeat
I
here.
don't see a defeat here
unless
either.
there's the inevitable defeat of not being the best poet
Right.
of all time,
Yeah.
Or it's
which I'm
leading up to the
I at
defeat.
least fall into the category of not being the best poet of all time.
Yeah.
Seems like I don't see a defeat in the first stanza, but maybe a build
No,
up.
I don't see it either. I don't see it in the second either, really.
No.
But it is interesting in terms of what you brought up earlier about the each and what we make of that each. So should we move to the stones in the driveway?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody say something brilliant about that, because that's tough.
Yeah.
So we have keep smoothing the stones in the driveway, let me fry an egg on your ass, I'll pick up the mail. So 2 commands and one sort of in exchange,
Right.
you know.
The first one I sort of think of just keep doing your chores.
Yeah.
Keep like doing what you're supposed to do.
A domestic situation.
Domestic
Yeah,
Kind
with
of
the
like
driveway and the frying the egg for breakfast and getting the mail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
I
you do every
suppose, I
day.
suppose that you smooth the stones in the driveway by driving your car over
Right,
and over
that's
again
true.
into the driveway. Like so, keep,
Right.
keep
So
coming
keep
home.
coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's
really good.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
And that goes into that, not to go too far ahead, but it goes directly into that beginning of the third stanza.
Yeah.
The absence, the concept of absence.
Yeah, so I really like your reading on that, but then we move from keep coming home to let me fry an egg on your ass.
Yeah.
It's because
Well,
she thinks his ass is hot.
Yeah, I was just
Exactly.
gonna say it has to be
It may
that.
not be a his.
That's
May
Right,
be-
might not be his. May
That's
not
true.
be his.
That's
Right,
true.
right.
But there's certain,
Right.
so there's
The
certainly...
other person's ass.
Right,
And I
is
think
hot.
this is the first time where we're getting some sort of sexual energy.
Yeah.
Some sort of, definitely an erotic charge
It's
here.
hot enough to fry an egg on. Your ass is hot enough to fry an
Right.
egg
But
on.
there's also just something so
Yes.
absurd and playful about,
Yeah.
you know, which again, this is Eileen Myles.
Keep coming
Yeah,
home,
especially
you know,
Juxtaposing with the common
I'll pick up the mail.
picking up the mail. I mean,
everything's
it's
domestic
great.
harmony in a way. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Keep partnering with me.
Because there also is the domestic sort of gendered sort of specificity and simplicity of making an egg, right? I'll be doing the cooking and you'll be going to
Fry
the
it up
job
in a
and
pan.
coming. But at the same time, it's
Fry it up in your
funny and
ass.
it's funny and
Instead of a
sexual,
pan.
and so making reference to these conventions while also kind of